Welcome to Dayton Metro Library. The story today is Oona by Kelly Dipuchio, pictures by Reza Figaro. Oona was sweet and a little bit salty, like the ocean where she lived. She was also brave and curious, like most treasure hunters. When Oona was just a baby, no bigger than a scallop, she chased a pearl into the mouth of a whale. Lucky for her, she popped right back out. As the years passed, Oona found bigger treasure and even bigger trouble. It's a good thing she has Otto. Oona rescued Otto from an oyster net when he was just a pup. She taught him tricks like sit, roll over, walrus, and her favorite, puffer fish. Oona and Otto searched for treasure nearly every day. They uncovered the keys and coins and buttons and bottles. Sometimes they even found lost gold. And sometimes lost glasses. But there was one special treasure Oona could never quite reach. The crown. It was extra sparkly in a way that made Oona's heart thump. But the crown was stuck deep in the rift, and not a pole, or a pail, or the sticky stick of a snail could get it unstuck. Still, Oona was determined. Her next plan was a good one. She knocked the crown loose. Unfortunately, the current shifted. The lobster crate and the rock drifted. And the squid, well, see for yourself. It's hard to say who was more surprised when the water cleared, Oona or the shark. Her third plan most definitely would have worked if the crabs hadn't been so crabby and the waves hadn't been so wavy. And if that long ship plank hadn't bumped her head hard before the greedy riff gobbled it up too. Poor Oona. This was getting personal. She shouted into the pit, "You can keep your dumb crown. I quit." Generally speaking, mermaids are not quitters, but at this point, one could hardly blame her. Instead of looking for treasure with Otto, Oona napped on the rocks with the sea lions. She drew pictures in the sand with the starfish. And she read from her favorite glass bottles with her land friends. All of this would have been perfectly fine, except Oona wasn't perfectly fine. Clearly, she was missing her spark. And a mermaid without her spark is like a seagull without an appetite. Unnatural. A seashell washed ashore. Oona studied it thoughtfully. It gave her an idea. She got right to work. The next day, Oona peered nervously into the rift. Why did it look so much deeper and scarier than she remembered? Otto pretended to be a narwhal, making Oona laugh. Admittedly, the new treasure hunting goggles she invented were funny looking, but they were also her best shot at reaching the crown. She dove to the bottom of the murky rift. That's when Oona noticed something she couldn't see from above. A bridge. A bridge made from a crate. A rock. And the very same plank that had plunked her on the head. And it led straight to the crown. But What was that rumbling sound? It grew louder and louder. The ocean floor shook, and the water around Oona turned into a thick stew of swirling sand and sea creatures. She couldn't see. She felt trapped. Would the hungry riff gobble her up too? Through the commotion, Oona could hear something else in the distance. It was faint, but comforting and familiar. The whales. Oona sang along until the rumbling stopped and the water cleared. Finally, this was her chance. Oona held her breath. Ready, steady, aim! Clink! Hooray!
Hooray!
We did it, Oona cheered, placing the crown on her best friend. It really is beautiful, she gushed. But these, Oona said excitedly, holding up her new goggles, these are spectacular. Otto agreed. Because sometimes the best treasure in the world isn't found. It's made. Oona by Kelly Dipuchio. So when you go off discovering things, remember, it doesn't have to be something bought. It's something that can be made because you use your imagination. Hey, I'll see you another day. Bye.